If you're a real estate agent and you're tired of cold calling, door knocking, and spending money on ads, then subscribe to this podcast. We discuss leveraging the power of YouTube for your real estate business and how these strategies earned us over $1 million in GCI our first year in real estate. My name is Levi Lascsak and my partner is Travis Plumb. Let's get started.
So we'll get started. This is passive prospecting, YouTube for real estate. I'm not sure where Chrissy is. Maybe she might be lost as well out there in the Clubhouse world. But if you're listening to this on the podcast, then well, you don't have to worry about that. So we're talking about the love-hate relationship with shorts today. And I would love to hear any feedback or thoughts. Mia's already thrown out a quote. When is Audible coming out? She says, I don't like these houses. Yeah, I don't. That could be it. I just haven't gotten on to figure out all the new updates. It looks like they've done a lot of updates on Clubhouse. So I don't know. I just haven't taken the time to read it. But the Audible, hopefully within the next week or two, I would say the Audible version of passive prospecting should be out within the next week or two. I believe it was 2 weeks ago they told us 3 weeks, so we could be coming up on this week or next week when the Audible version of passive prospect. I'm very excited about that. That was very interesting to record. And what's also funny is that let me see. Yeah, so you're in a soundproof room, first of all. I don't know if I might have already talked about this a little bit, but just since Mia brought it up, I'm kind of rehash this story. But you're in a soundproof room, and you never know how much your body and everything else makes a noise until you get in a soundproof room. And there's an engineer in the next room over, like this huge, looks like the Millennial Falcon. It looks like Star Wars in there. Just their screens and the audio, everything that they're looking at, just to record an audiobook. And she's in the very next room, and there's a little microphone, or there's a little speaker in my room. She would tell me if I messed up or I need to go back and say a sentence again. But after lunch, it was very interesting. I ate lunch and thought I had a good lunch, just really a chicken salad. I thought chicken salad should be very simple, and I got in there, and then my stomach would not shut up, like just growling, digestion. You could just hear the digestion. I'm like, does this happen after every meal? And just because we're in noisy environments or going on about our life, we don't recognize any of that? Well, yeah, try sitting in a complete soundproof room right after lunch. It's very interesting. And then on top of that, she could hear it. And that was the funny thing too. So you're not getting away with anything in that scenario. But she would make me start over. She'd be like, oh, tummy growl. And that's what the speaker is for. So I'd have to go back and re-say a sentence or something like that. And what they did at the end was they took room tone. Which means, like, I couldn't even have my cell phone in there, because the cell phone, which none of us have ever heard this probably, right, is your cell phone emits a very low-level buzz. It's a machine that's running. And when you're in a soundproof room with I think they said their microphone was a $6,000 microphone, then it's picking everything up. So I had to leave the cell phone out of the room, and then I had to pause at the end of it. You have to pause and just sit there in complete silence, and they get what they call room tone. And that room tone allows them to get rid of that during the editing process. So if they know what that room tone is, they can immediately extract that from that. Now, we filmed 2 weeks ago, and we're filming this weekend 3 days with a major TV network, and a few of you already know about that. But since that's not out right now, I don't want to say that on the podcast just yet. But it was interesting to see the filming process. I thought I understood video, thought I knew video, and then you work with a professional film crew, and it's full days. We did 2 full 8-hour days, and I say 8 hours because I'm estimating, but probably maybe 8 to 10 hours. And then this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, is all full 8-hour days as well. And we did one property in 1 day. So I think about what I do. I can do a property tour in an hour, no problem. But whenever you're filming for a TV show, then they're very detailed on everything. So it's very interesting to see that process. But what was funny was at the end, we had to film the property tour twice. And actually, I'm not even sure I'll just say this because I think they don't really want me to talk about process. But it was funny, at the end we had to go through and get room tone. So we had to go to each room in the entire house, every bedroom, the bathrooms, the kitchen, every single room, and stand there in silence so that they could get the room tone. And so they're going to extract that. And I just thought it was funny because when they're like, okay, we're going to go around and get room tone, I was like, oh, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're going to do. So that was pretty cool. Now that's a little bit of a tedious process to go through every single room and stand there for 30 seconds, but it's not bad. Now the other things that we did, it was very interesting as well. And maybe I'll talk about that sometime offline. I don't know. I want to be careful. Maybe once everything comes out, I'll see if I can disclose a little bit more. I'll just check with them first to make sure it's okay. But it's pretty cool to kind of see their whole process, the production process, and all those little things that I didn't know about. I didn't know about it, and just going through that process is pretty cool. But today we're talking about shorts, and then I just got a new setup, moved into a new house, and got a new setup, and now I'm directly facing a window. And I learned, natural light is always, again, I'm going off subject here, but natural light is really, really good light to use for filming. The problem with natural light is it's not consistent. So, if you're in a dark room, or you can close the shades or the blinds or something like that, and you have lighting, you can create a consistent shot, a consistent frame with lighting every single time. It really shouldn't be that different. When you have a window, if you don't have covering, which these windows I do not have coverings on because it's a new house, and I thought, well, I'm going to place everything up against the window, which Alex, our videographer, told me about this. He's like, hey, just be careful of the times of days. And now I'm learning already. Like right now, it's 10:40 in the morning Central Standard Time, and the light, even though I don't have direct sunlight through the window, it's a little overpowering. So when those watch this on the video podcast, when it comes out later, you'll see what I'm talking about, is that the light is a little overpowering, making me look a lot whiter than usual. So, that's the problem when you're working with natural light. Now, you can control that by, if you shoot the same time every morning or the same time every evening, that will give you a better control, although overcast may be different from a sunny day. And that would be something in the morning time or the evening, whenever the sun is getting ready to set, or anywhere usually between 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. They call that the golden hour. The golden hour could also be referred to in the morning time, like whenever the sun's just starting to break, 8 a.m.-ish, or, it's already broken and it's up a little bit. Those are really good times to film outside because the sun is not as harsh as it is between, let's say, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's when the sun's going to be the harshest. You have to be very careful too if you're going out during lunchtime, and with the sun directly over your head, because then you could be casting shadows in different ways. The lighting can be inconsistent, so that's something you want to think about. I'm always facing the sun. If you didn't notice this, you'll notice it now, but I'm always facing the sun typically, or at least I make a point to, and so that will determine like which side of the street I will walk on or which direction I'll head based on which way the sun is. So if I am doing something in the morning or the afternoon's a lot more difficult because the sun's a lot brighter, especially here in Texas, and I'm fair-skinned, blue-eyed, so it'll make me squint quite a bit if I, just stare directly towards the sun. So I could wear sunglasses, and I do sometimes, not all the times. I do want that eye contact with the camera, but sometimes it's a little too bright, and sometimes that's the time I have to film. But now, like I noticed this morning, I've been checking my camera throughout the day, just seeing when when the lighting looks okay. And again, that golden hour in the morning, before 10 a.m. and the golden hour in the evening after 5 p.m. is really good times for natural lighting, especially if you're going to be in front of a window or you don't have shades or blinds or something like that. And you don't have a really good light, or you haven't gotten a light yet, you can use the natural light. But just you want to be mindful of that. And as I'm talking right now, we're getting closer to lunchtime, and the light's just a little bit harsher, and it looks like I have a very bright light on my face. So allow me to take a quick break to remind you that we have very important links in the description below. If you want the full story of how we closed over $1 million in commissions our first year and over $2.3 million in commissions our second year, check out the first link. Also, you have the link to our #1 Amazon best-selling book, Passive Prospecting. Last, if you enjoy this podcast and you're a giving person, leave a 5-star review, please. Now back to the episode. I could probably fix that with some powder, which is what they do before you go on stage. Because when you go on stage, you have extremely bright lights pointed at you, and so it kind of blacks out the audience. And they will powder you up sometimes so that you don't have that glow, that overpowering glow effect. But just funny, and I had to get powdered up the last weekend with the camera crew as well. They powdered me up on a couple of shots, so it was interesting. It's part of the business. I don't really do that for my YouTube videos, but if you need to, you could do that. That could tone that down a little bit. So, anyways, I thought we were talking about shorts today, so that was just funny side notes there. They are still hard to navigate. Mia says, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand the new format of Clubhouse. So I'm not sure what I did. But anyways, so shorts, we're talking about the love-hate relationship with shorts. And it's interesting. Let me know in the chat, if you're joining us today, let me know in the chat if you have any feedback on shorts. I will say that, what I've learned, and it's something we're about to start experimenting with again. I went to a content workshop last weekend at Ryan Pineda's office, and just watched his whole process, how everything was, how he does it on the short form content. I actually recorded a couple of reels with him as well. And therefore I was just like, okay, I think this is something that I'm just have to make time for and start moving towards. Plus, I've been doing the shorts have been everything. My short form content almost over the last 2 years has really been repurposed content, meaning that everything is almost me doing something else. I'm not really ever directly talking to the camera. And I've, at least on Instagram, my engagement has gone down quite a bit. And I'm not scared to admit that it's gone down. So I'm wondering, is it because I'm not doing any front-facing, camera talking head videos? I'm not making eye contact. Every single one of my pieces of content is me speaking on stage, answering questions, coaching someone else. It's just real. It's real. I mean, that's what it is. It's me just doing what I do every single day, because that's the most efficient thing for me to do is because I'm talking about video and coaching or speaking or doing podcasts or anything like that. It's just makes life that much easier for me to have that all chopped up, and that becomes the short form content. Now, however, with engagement starting to go down, at least on Instagram, then it makes me wonder, okay, is it time for a change? Do people need to see something different? Do I need to speak directly to the camera? And then you look at anybody else that's just crushing short form right now, like, you could look at Hermosi or Pineda. Now, of course, they've got a lot bigger followings than, but they're making a lot of direct content. I mean, Pineda does a mix of both because he has a podcast as well, so he does chop that up. But he also has a dedicated camera, so he might look at the camera sometimes, and that gives him opportunity to make some reels out of that. So, the thing is that I know as far as what we're doing, at least through Instagram, it's not working to help grow. And that's the thing is, the funny thing though about that is I can't really seem to get anybody to give me a very clear answer on how you really change that. It's like I hear one person say hashtags work, the other one says they don't. One person says they're dead, somebody says you need longer descriptions, but I see people without any descriptions doing well. It's just every time I learn something, I feel like I learn the exact opposite, and it almost cancels itself out. You give me an example of success, I could show you the exact opposite of that example of success. So I don't know. I don't really like to talk in a lot of definitive terms when it comes down to it. Now the deal is that I do have definitive terms of understanding of what works in YouTube, but I do believe it takes different, people reach the level of success they're searching for at different times, some sooner rather than later. We've had people that we've helped out with YouTube that have gotten a call after 2 videos. I mean, literally like 6 subscribers and 2 videos, and they got a $750,000 client. That's tremendous. I've also had people that have gone 3 months with zero reach outs, and then all of a sudden, it kicks in. So everybody's timeline, but I do know that, optimization, SEO, keywords, those types of things really do matter on YouTube. And that's why I do really love YouTube, is because it's a little more black and white. Although I still believe there's some gray in YouTube, I think it's it's mostly black and white. I would say like 80% black or white, that I can really kind of give you definitive answers on what needs to be changed, what you could do better. And with the short form content, I really still cannot seem to nail down what's the true formula for success. Even with shorts, on our passive prospecting channel, we publish a ton of shorts on there. We've been doing 2 a day for, a year and a half maybe on the shorts. It's gotten us a lot of subscribers, but again, the engagement is not where I would like it to be. Now, living in Dallas, our real estate channel, which I've only focused on really long form content, I would say 98%. I've done about 2% short form content on there as experiments, and I'm about to do a 3rd experiment. So the long form content just wins. It just wins and it converts, and I know exactly how that is working. I published some shorts on living in Dallas, and it's just hard for me to tell. Is it really making an impact? Are we generating in business? Nobody has come to us yet and said, Levi, that short form, that 30-second video you put out is what drove me to call you. The conversion, I believe, happens with the long form content. So that's where my love-hate relationship comes in, for the fact that I'm still working on trying to nail down what is there a definitive approach to this, because also even staying consistent, like I was listening to a podcast this morning, and they were talking about one of the creators on there. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm all in on shorts," and I know a lot of people actually. I've had a lot of discussions with creators that their shorts have blown up, and I'm wondering, okay, is our content again too specific? Is it too niched? Or do I need to look at, is there opportunities to go viral with shorts on real estate content? I think there's opportunity there, but at the same time, does it really mean anything? And the person, I was listening to this podcast this morning, this creator, they now have over 600,000 subscribers on YouTube, but that all came from shorts. Like they have a couple of shorts, like one hit 15 million, another one 11 million. But, his strategy was, he was talking about, he does things incorrectly on purpose. So he does a lot of business, listicles, he said, listicles for his short form content, and like, hey, here's the top 5 softwares you need for a small business owner. Here's the top 5 affiliates you can implement. Here's the top 5 AI websites you need to be using in your business. That sort of stuff. But he also said when he does other short form content, he specifically mispronounces words. For example, the example he used with you, I guess he was talking about Socrates, and he said Socrates or something, or Socrates. He said Socrates in his video on purpose so that he got the comments, and the comments are what he's saying is driving his engagement. And then so now he mispronounces words, says things off the wall purposefully. And so he'll share his computer screen, and he leaves open a file. Like you said, he'll have a file folder on his desktop or something that says, Hunter Biden's laptop files or something like that. And it's all this stuff to just create controversy, especially within the comments. And I just was thinking about that, and I was going, what's the point? Is that, I guess if you want a lot of subscribers, yes, I could see that. That's clearly working. But for me, if I do that, I feel like I'm not going to look like a professional. I'm not going to look like a professional, especially being in the real estate business. So does something like that even work for, someone, people like ourselves that are in the business of being a professional and knowing your cities and your towns and your suburbs? I mean, if I just start mispronouncing towns, is that going to get me a lot of views? Could be, but I don't think I don't think I would get the business. I wouldn't get the conversion. So for me, those types of things, you have to really think about and consider those and ask yourself, what are you looking for? Are you looking for views and subscribers, or are you looking for conversions? And I know for me, the number one goal of the channel was make the phone ring, period. That was the number one goal, make the phone ring. So I was never really concerned about anything else. And so I don't necessarily, and that's where I'm really torn on shorts as well, because shorts have little viral components. I have several shorts that have gone, 2, 3, 4, 5,000 views within a 1 week time frame. But I'm like, what does that really get me in return? Some extra subscribers, because people will just subscribe sometimes just to subscribe. So I don't know if I can really equate any conversion to that short form content. Instagram, I'm completely baffled. I can't tell you anything about Instagram. And really anybody I talk to can't really tell me either. And again, every time I find something where somebody says this is what you need to do, I find somebody that's not doing that and is having success. And they can't really say. So now they do say something, talking with Ryan Pineda this last weekend, he mentioned about, he notices when he goes super niche, it's a much, it's lower view counts. When he goes a much more broad, bigger view counts. And so that's why he incorporates several things on that. And it makes me think too, okay, on Instagram, if I'm trying to attract real estate agents, do I go, like Pineda will talk about his watches. He owns 4 or 5 luxury watches. And when I say luxury, I'm talking like $60,000 to $80,000 watches. I don't know, I also think sometimes, I don't know, I got a nice watch, but is that really a big deal? I got a Bronco. It's not a Lamborghini. Do I talk about my Bronco? I guess I could. But the thing is I just experimented with a video on living in Dallas this last weekend. I did this Bronco event where I went and met up, we went and met up at this body shop. They, build everything custom. They build like carbon fiber Mustangs and all kinds of crazy. I mean, you're talking like $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 vehicles. Really super cool. But there's like 50 Broncos. Everybody brought out their Broncos, and I brought out, Alex came with me. I was like, hey, let's make a little video about it. Kind of like a things to do in Dallas. We don't have mountains, really. We don't have beach, but we've got a lot of great areas. You can go off-roading, hiking, things like that. And so we were in this group of 50 Broncos, and we go to, about 30 minutes outside of Dallas to a state park that is there really like specifically for motorbikes and Bronco. I mean, off-roading. It's a giant hills and mud pits and everything else you could dream of to drive through, right? So we do that. So we kind of make a little video on it, and only 7 minutes. But and I thought, okay, that was kind of like, hey, Bronco off-road event, living in Dallas, things to do in Dallas. And it's been the absolute worst performing video on the channel in a very, very long time. And again, it's kind of like, okay, so that broad subject there, that broad subject didn't really, now I don't know if you'd say that would be broad. I guess Bronco and off-roading, you could consider that to be niche. But, this is something that we've always spoken with people about as well, especially when starting their channels, and they would ask about interviewing people, interviewing restaurant owners and going to coffee shops. And, I would always say, yeah, it's probably best to incorporate those things in your videos, but don't dedicate a video to it. Don't make a whole video like, here I am interviewing the restaurant or the coffee shop owner of just in time for coffee. Nobody really cares about that, because you got to think about what they're researching. Most people don't care about restaurants and coffee shops when they're moving. It's their least of their concern. I think everybody assumes that they will find good restaurants and coffee shops when they move. They're more concerned about picking the right area, getting a good deal on their home, schools for the kids, proximity to work. Those are the things that they care about. I think everybody assumes when they move, they're going to have access to coffee shops and restaurants and bars. They're not worried about that. They're not researching that. Hey, honey, it's time to move. Let's make sure we're really close to an awesome coffee shop. Most people just don't say that to themselves. And so I think, I wanted to test this whole Bronco video, and it crashed and burned. It's really, it's a poor click-through rate. It's a poor viewing. It's poor view count. It's poor view duration. So I'm like, all right, well, clearly we didn't create an intriguing enough video, or that's way too niched, or, people are like, it goes back to my original suspicion, which is, hey, we're trying to move. I could care less about off-roading, if I'm going to be close to that. If I get a good place for my family, a good deal, good schools, and there's no off-roading around, I'm probably willing and okay to sacrifice that. That's not a priority of mine. And now maybe for a single person, maybe it is, but most of the time we're working with families, and they're looking to make moves, and they're trying to make decisions on what's best for the family, not what's going to be, where can we have the most fun, or where can we have a really good coffee shop. So those are the types of things I think you want to consider, and that's where the short form content again comes in. And I'm just I still scratch my head a little bit. Now the thing is that we included a chapter on our book, because in the last chapter about shorts, because YouTube did come out with some cool features on shorts now, which they are searchable. So, keywords and descriptions do matter in the shorts as well. And I just looked this morning in our analytics, and we had 7,500 views. So 7,500 views in the last month from our shorts. And I haven't published shorts. I published a batch a year and a half ago when they first came out to test. And I published a batch probably about 6 months ago. Yeah, actually around November, December, when they made that change just to test some things out. But those shorts are still getting viewed, still being searched and being found, because I still geared that short form content towards searchable content and relevant topics that I thought would be ideal for, living in Dallas. And they're resurfacing, and gave our channel 7,500 views in the last month, which is, hey, I'll take those extra views. That's not a bad thing. So let me see if I go, I'm just going to jump right back into my analytics real quick and take a look at that. And look at the shorts, because I'm wondering how many subscribers. Yeah, 30 subscribers. So 7,600 views, 30 subscribers, compared to videos. Doesn't show my subscribers on here. Let me see. On that portion of it would be, let me go back to that. Yeah, 750 subscribers off of 58,000 for, in the last 28 days. So, yeah, clearly the long form content is still king, and it's driving it. But hey, what I do like about shorts is I could say that could create awareness. It could get somebody to discover you that I don't know. Again, I think people that are in the shorts feed and on short form content, they're not intentional. They're not researching. But that's the opportunity that maybe you capture them and they do like you and they follow you or subscribe to you or something like that. And then maybe in a year or 2 or 3 when they are in the market, maybe you do become their agent because now they've watched your short form content over the last year or 2. Of course, I know people that have turned over business very quickly from short form content. But usually those are the ones that I know are concentrating strictly on the short form content. And they're really digging into that. They don't have a backup or a foundation of long form content. And that's usually the younger crowd, I would say, from what I've seen, that have really done that on short form content. I only know really maybe one person that's, you could put that in the, I want to say the higher age bracket. And don't want to say the higher age bracket that does well with some short form content. But other than that, I think it's just, you have to really watch what you're doing, study what you're doing, understand what you're doing. And that's why I also believe it's ideal to be focused on one platform first before you branch off into everything else. Because if you can master one platform, I think it's going to be easier to break off in the others. But now I think we do have a good handle on long form content on YouTube. And after everything that I've read and watched and observed, I think I have a different approach and things that I can implement moving forward on short form content. How we do that on the real estate channel, that is something I will continually test. My real estate agent channel, passive prospecting, we've been blasting shorts to that for the last year and a half, and 2 a day. And the same thing, I get shorts with 50 views and I get shorts with 5,000 views, and it's very up and down. We still have not found a consistency stride with that either, which is interesting, but we'll see as we film new content, camera facing, eyeballs locked in, direct content specific for that. We'll see. We'll have to revisit this topic maybe in the next 30 to 60 days and give an update on that. So Alex is coming over here in an hour or 2, and we're going to knock out some reels. And we'll be working on that. So let me see here. Mia said, read the book. Doing it next week. Oh, book club. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. So yes, passive prospecting will be part of a book club starting next week. I don't really know all the details on that, but that's pretty cool. They said I could pop in if I wanted to make a guest appearance. I was like, thank you. Appreciate that. So they're going to be doing a book club on passive prospecting. Not sure how that works. Let me see. Let's see. Tony says, seems like a lot of the successful shorts I guess that's they seem to be directly addressing the viewer, and by comparison with somebody who doesn't do that, there's a greater chance of them swiping, moving on. Maybe so. I think that's what we just kind of talked about. Like I said, none of my short form content am I really addressing the camera. Am I really addressing the viewer? It's all repurposed content for me living my life, basically, in the professional space. Tony also says, I suspect shorts can serve as fishing bait to bring some viewers over to the long form video. Interested clients may click link in short to see long. Yeah, that could be an option as well. And that's another cool feature that YouTube has implemented, where you can clip shorts from your long form content, and that short form content will be directly linked to the long form content. So if somebody clicks on a little link inside of the video, the short form content, it will take them to the long form. But again, this is where I always question platform psychology, content psychology. And I think anybody that's watching short form content, is very difficult to convert them to long form because they're kind of in a killing time or mindless thinking or whatever the case may be. I don't know. I don't know. I know they say Gen Z now is really starting to use TikTok for search, which is interesting. But as far as I know, I don't know of a lot of people anecdotally that just go on there to solve their problems, that go onto Instagram, the Instagram feed or the TikTok feed to solve their problems. Most people I know, including myself, it's like I've talked so much today. I've done so many meetings. I've already made videos. I've done content. This and that. I just want to veg out for a second. I'm just going to click through some reels, and I think they're entertaining. I mean, there's a lot of funny stuff out there. But it's interesting. I get all kinds of weird stuff. And I see the same thing for most agent. Unless the agent is a comedian, it's property tours. I do see property tours and without an agent, I do see those getting a ton of views. What does that turn into? I don't know. That's funny. Clara says that's funny, but does he get sales? Yeah, I don't think so we were talking about the YouTuber that mispronounces words and things like that, does all kinds of weird stuff in his videos just to get engagement. Does he get, I don't think he's selling anything. I think he's just going for the subscriber count and the view count. And I tell you what, you get in the millions of views, and then monetization from YouTube could become a full-time income, but you have to get up in the millions of views. Well, I guess it depends on what you determine as a full-time income. So that is something to consider. And you could probably be in the hundreds of thousands of views. And for some people that need less, you could earn a full-time income from that. I was also listening to Think Media the other day, and man, they had some crazy number of views in the last 30 days from their shorts. They're growing quite a bit, from their short content. But they're also publishing a ton. I think Sean said they're publishing 10, 15 pieces of content a day, and that's really in combination with all platforms. There's a lot. They may probably more than that. I just know that they're cranking out a ton of content. But he's also got multiple creators, right? Which is a huge advantage, and that allows you to do that. You have three main creators on the channel, and if they make content at least every other day, you're talking about that could be 21 pieces of content there that could all get chopped up and repurposed and reused. So most of us are not in that situation unless you have a team or a brokerage maybe, and you get several of your agents creating content. I believe that's the best way to do it. That's the long game. Eventually I do see myself exiting from the content creation portion of the channel, but I've got to have 2 or 3 agents that are willing, able, and dedicated to filling that gap. And if they do that, of course, they would have priority of leads, things like that. I think we've got a long ways to go. We've got a lot of things we're still working on and dialing in, but that would be a goal of mine to be able to step out of video content. Maybe I produce a video a week or video every other week, or maybe do a live stream every other week or once a month. I think that would be cool. But otherwise, if I could get 3 agents contributing content, that you could do a lot of damage there, in my opinion. So let's see. Mr. Malcolm says, I find your shorts very helpful with a lot of useful information. Thank you. Appreciate that, Mr. Malcolm. Do you take each question from video and convert it into a short? Yeah, you absolutely could. So, if you're in the real estate business, you're meeting with clients, these are the types of things you have to be intentional about. If you're sitting in your car talking to somebody, if you're sitting in your home office talking to somebody, or, you should have either notes on your phone or a little notepad with you at all times. Because if you think about it, somebody says, and hopefully you're recording those conversations. If you're recording those, which if I'm sitting in my office right now, I'm recording this on video. You could do that every time. If you have your client calls scheduled out, hit record, turn on Zoom, that's very simple to do. Turn on Zoom, record yourself. And then you could go back and replay that, unless you take notes during the conversation and say, man, this client asked me 6 different questions. Well, that's 6 different shorts right there. All right, that's 6 different reels. That's 6 opportunities for you to regurgitate that question and answer it on a short form piece of content. So absolutely. So you never know. One conversation with one client could give you a week's worth of content. And then Then if you record 2 or 3 different hooks to that one piece, now you've got double or triple the content. So if you're going to answer one question and, why do interest rates keep going up and down? Or will interest rates ever fall again? Then you say, okay, I can answer that, but I need to have 2 or 3 different hooks so that we can attach those two or three hooks on that same body of information, and therefore I'm going to double or triple my output. So same content, but a different hook. And so anybody that sees that, even if they see every single, this 2 or 3 reels you made, and you wouldn't publish them back to back anyways, you would publish them maybe once a week, then they're likely not to make that connection, that it's the same body of information. The hook, because it's different, may seem like a new piece of information from them. And sometimes you watch things and it just doesn't register. So maybe saying the same thing in it with a different hook registers different with different people. Or you might capture a whole new audience with a different hook because it's something that really piques their interest. So you got some opportunity there. Let me see. David says, what do you think of Inez biz model on YouTube? Yeah, I think it works. Just touring multi-million-dollar properties. I could go for that. Now, I think he just did a video, I don't know, maybe that was 3 months ago or something. And I guess before he was a licensed real estate agent and was referring business and I think he made a post, 3 or 4 months ago, and he said he was not going to do that anymore. He was just going to focus on making YouTube videos, which, look, I don't know his motivation or reasoning behind that, but I'm thinking that size of audience, that amount of views, if you get referrals, I would love to refer that business out all day, every day to collect a referral fee. I think that's one of the most lucrative things in our business is referral fees and these opportunity to help clients move from anywhere in the country. So when Inez has like a national audience probably international audience and touring $50 million properties, well, hey, man, I would monetize that, in a referral based system somehow. Plus you're the person on content, so people are going to be trusting you and reaching out to you, and they might be purchasing $10 million, $20 million properties. So I don't know if that's what you mean by his business model. You might want to get a little bit more specific, David, if you want me to break off a little bit more into that. So let me see. Chrissy's like, I just saw her message. She's like, are you still planning on doing Clubhouse? So I'm not sure how I just started this room, how it all works. David, yeah, I just wondered if he is being paid to make videos now. Yeah, I don't know if Inez is getting paid to make videos now. I'm not sure. I just, clearly he's got enough views. He's probably making a good amount from AdSense, but I would still think referrals from real estate sales, or even, if you listed those homes, maybe that's what he doesn't want to do. But I'm thinking, man, the commissions on those size of homes, even if they're referrals, could be way more lucrative than getting paid on YouTube. Or I don't know if he's got some brand deals working or anything like that. So I'm not really sure exactly his exact way of monetization, but I'm pretty sure he was letting go of his real estate license, or he said he wasn't going to do that portion of it anymore. So yeah, they're never his listings. Yeah, clearly he goes all over the country sometimes, or I don't know, I think I've seen him in Dubai as well or something. So he's heading all over the world. It's now, here's the thing about that. Ryan Serhant wrote this in the foreword of our book. He had never worked with a 9-figure client. Think about that. So that's a minimum $100 million property. Ryan Serhant had never worked with a client for 9 figures, which makes sense. Not a lot of people are working with clients buying 9-figure homes. But he saw that he said the owner of the Discovery Channel listed his Colorado ranch, for $280 million. And so Ryan was like, hey, let me go film that. So that wasn't Ryan's listing. He filmed that property. A kid, and this is exactly what he said in the forward of our book, is he said a kid in Dubai whose dad is a billionaire watched that video and told his dad, like, hey, this is the agent we should work with. And the billionaire had a $170 million apartment in New York that he wanted to sell. And so they reached out to Ryan, and that's how he got his first listing, his first 9-figure listing. Imagine listing a $170 million, and I believe he sold that. Then that led to, I think this guy bought a 9-figure property in Florida, So you never know. I mean, the opportunities and everything that we've had come from video have been tremendous. And, we put our listings, we have filmed other, this agent came to us last week. We actually just filmed this $2.5 million property. And the agent came to us and was like, hey, I would love for you to put this property on your channel. And I thought, yeah, exactly. You would think more agents would reach out to do that, especially if they don't want to make the videos. I mean, it's a great way. It's a win-win situation. In the last week, that video's almost 2,000 views. That's 2,000 additional eyeballs for her listing. So, there's all those opportunities. Let me see. Oh, Chrissy, yeah. Well, Chrissy, can you speak?
I can speak, I think.
Oh, yeah. Well, you were down, and I guess I don't know if it's just open mic now. I don't know. I'm not sure how. I didn't find any scheduled room. Did you schedule a room?
What? Yeah, we had it scheduled. That's weird.
I don't know. I just started this room up, and then everybody popped in.
They changed the house thing. I don't even know. I mean, it doesn't let me add like a co-speaker. I think it's just open to the floor for whoever.
Okay.
So.
Wild, Wild West now?
Yeah. Beware.
Okay. Well, I think we're coming to an end on this. So I think I don't know how much you caught. Anything you want to say about shorts?
I kind of came in at the very tail end. So I may say something that you've probably already said, but I always tell people with shorts, like, do shorts as a support to the long form content. Don't do long form content as a support to your short form. So that's why I usually tell people to wait a little bit on their shorts, because you want to see what's really doing well with your audience before you try to create shorts around it. So that's what I would say. But again, you probably already covered that in detail. So.
Well, I did talk a little bit about our Bronco video, how poorly it did. So, any thoughts on that?
I just think that shorts are weird.
Well, the Bronco
work.
Yeah, but the Bronco video is not as short.
Oh, the Bronco is the long. Yes, sorry, is the long form video. I know that at some point we were going to make a short out of it. So, but yeah, I mean. Ultimately, with shorts in particular, you never really know what's going to work. And so it's just kind of throwing stuff out, which again, that's why I always think it's better to see what resonates with your audience in the long form and then create shorts to support that versus trying to go the other way. Because usually it just doesn't work very well if you try to go the opposite direction with it.
Yeah, but I was asking about the Bronco video. The long form video. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm just saying it really sucked. So
yeah, well, it wasn't very real estate related, and I guess it kind of goes back to the idea that we tell people don't do restaurant reviews, don't go interview people, even on a channel that's really successful, putting stuff out there where there's really not and I remember doing the keyword research for it. The keyword research was pretty tough for that because the search volume just wasn't there. So we did a lot of, we retargeted a lot of the general keywords for Dallas in general, things to do in Dallas, that type of thing. But even then the search volume was pretty poor around the whole Broncos thing, especially on the local niche. And so, it just kind of goes back and solidifies the idea of, doing those interviews, doing the local highlights and things like that. Even on a very successful channel, it's not going to do very well. So imagine if you're starting a channel from scratch and you try to go do some type of topic like that, that's probably the results you're going to get on your own channel too.
Yeah. That's funny. That's pretty much what I said too. I just don't think it was I just think it's I don't know. Yeah, it's not what people are researching, right? They don't care about where they can go off-roading. They're looking for a place to house their family and the school district and the safety and the price of the home. And those are the things they're looking at versus, do I get to go off-roading? But
Yep.
But again, I don't. It was something I wanted to test out, and we had that video. It was done, I don't know, a couple of months ago, but we were saving it for a rainy day. It was just one of those things where I'm like, I know I'm going to get caught up, traveling or something like that, and we'll test that video and see what happens. And sure enough, it's not that great. So.
Hey, but you know what? That we're a believer in testing absolutely everything. I mean, it's funny because I've been on trainings with people like Mr. Beast and things like that too, and Mr. Beast did the same exact thing. And he's had even some videos that even when you look at it on paper, it doesn't look like it wasn't very successful, but he's got some videos that he considers to be his big flops. His only 1.1 million videos, those ones are total flops for him when you compare it to the rest of his channel. But he tests everything too. So I think ultimately you have to have a lot of failures. You have to have a lot of things that don't work to understand what really does work. And so every once in a while you're going to have a dud, but it's just about having the consistency. And that's why we put that out, was to maintain the consistency, and that will serve us in a different way in the end. But yeah, test everything. We do that.
Yep. And it's not going to kill the channel. So the people that are worried about doing something because they think it's going to kill the channel, I wouldn't worry about that.
That's a really good point, because I get that question a lot. It's like people are so concerned about doing everything perfectly on their channel from the very beginning. And if one thing goes awry, especially at the very beginning, like the first 30 to 60 days, I think it's really good to try to have a solid plan in place. But if one thing goes wrong, maybe you release your video 30 minutes later, or you choose to do it at a different time zone completely, or whatever, those types of things, like a one and done, it's really not going to do a whole lot for your channel. It's really the consistency that we talk about, is being consistent in the creation of the content, having a plan for your content. And it's really more for yourself and for planning too, because if you decide, I'm not going to do filming this week, I'm too tired to do it this week, next week is probably going to be the same thing. It's like the same thing that you have with the gym, right? Like you decide to go, you don't go one morning, well, yeah, you decide not to go the next morning because sleeping in feels pretty good. And before you know it, you've gone a month and you haven't gone to the gym. It's the same thing with your filming schedule too. So the consistency is important on YouTube, but more importantly than that, it's really getting the content created. And if you have a few little fluctuations here and there, a video that doesn't do too well here and there, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to kill your channel overnight. It's really when you start not doing those things consistently, that's what kills the channel.
Yep. All right. Well, I don't know if we're on stage or if this is a free-for-all. I don't know. Tony, you have a question or are you just hanging out? I'm not sure how the new format works.
It looks like a wave, but maybe we were just figuring out the emojis.
No, I just wanted to throw my little 2 cents in there, just to bring up a slight different point of view regarding the local thing. You guys talking about the coffee shop or...
Yeah, can you speak up a little bit?
Shop, whatever. Oh, yeah, sure. Hold on a second. Hold on, let me get off the Bluetooth here. Okay, is that better?
Yeah, it's a lot better.
Okay, thanks. I think that the real estate agent probably should see those things like coffee shops or maybe a mobile detailing guy in the area. It's just more so, but not only for sellers can see that. First of all, they can stumble upon you that way with that video instead of the usual 4-bed, 4-bath, 3-bed, 3-bath. Well, now you start talking about small local businesses they may not necessarily have gone into, and it can be momentarily intriguing for them, and they kind of see who you are. They get a sense of your personality in a non-real estate scenario, so you're kind of showing yourself as a person, sharing something that you believe to be fun and happy and local. So let's say you have a town of 100,000 people, and some of them might want to sell, and they're going through their TikTok or shorts, YouTube shorts, and they see you mention about, hey, there's a place called Black Dot Coffee, blah, 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 blah. And then they go, oh, I've never been in there. Who is this guy? Oh, he's a local real estate agent? I never saw his stuff. Because you never know. Sellers don't always know who all the real estate agents are, but they might see the same old postcard, the same old video tour, but then maybe you pop up talking about the local tech groomer, the local mobile detail guy, the local coffee shop. So I would see it as Not that you're gonna see the coffee shop review and say, I want him to sell my $5 million house. They're going to say, oh, well, I never received his postcards or anything. I get a bunch of other usual stuff. And who's this guy? Click, click, click. Oh, you know what? I actually kind of like the way this guy is. You know what? Maybe talk to my wife. Maybe I'll just give him a quick call and, see what he's really all about. So they have a way to know you with your hair down, quote unquote, without your suit, so to speak. So I just think it's a little salt and pepper for the business and not exactly the meat, So like Levi, he's got all those tours and stuff, and I think it's great. And I think if he were to show me some stuff in Dallas, even though I'll never move there, but I probably would appreciate certain little businesses I didn't know existed in Dallas, and I may watch it. And using it for hyper local, I think is probably the way we'd apply that salt and pepper as a YouTube short. So that's kind of my quick babble how I see shorts could be putting out a whole lot of little fishing poles in a hyper-local area and standing out a little bit differently by actually having the courage, which a lot of agents don't, to get out there and talk to owners and get no, yes, yes, no, yes, and doing the video. And then with those yeses, you just look like a good person that's out there sharing something joyful about a community that some sellers or buyers might not have known about. Now they do, and some of them will kind of dig into it and see who you are. So I think that's probably the benefit amongst many possibilities. What do you guys think? I mean, I could be wrong, but that's what it sounds like, how a short could be used in terms of real estate and doing the non-real estate tours. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, hey, I think anything's possible. I don't know though. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I've seen a successful channel or one that's been doing a lot of business, or one that's doing a lot of business that I know of, from those types of things. Are you doing that on your channel, Tony?
No, actually, I'm because I've talked to so many people about it over so many months, and I've been so busy doing other things behind the scenes. But truth be told, moving forward, I have really got to get a supply of content ready to start pushing out on a regular basis to shorts. Because, like I said, I agree with you. I don't know anybody who's made the big bucks off of the shorts and real estate that I've spoken to. Do my little homework in advance, probably too long, but I'm gonna take it for what I think it is. It's different content that should be short, quick, fun, or interesting and different. Because man, every time I see 4-bed, 4-bath, 4-bed, 4-bath, this is such a great home. And when I see an agent do something different, no matter where they are in the country, I usually will sit there and watch it and go, oh, that's pretty cool. And there you go. So I just think it's another way we could, again, tours could be our meat and potatoes, and the helpful content and the education could be meat and potatoes. I'm going to see local businesses as salt and pepper just to kind of break up that monotony, because you never know. There are certain businesses I see in my town that I never went into, and when I walked in, this private donut shop guy makes these amazing donuts. I mean, Dunkin' Donuts and Krispy Kreme can't hold a candle to this guy, and they have one store for 40 years. And this so after almost 35 years driving by this guy's place, I discovered it and went, oh my God. Well, if I'm surprised for a few minutes, maybe other people might appreciate that. So I got to go down and, talk to him later today and say, I love to share what I think about your shop. I think it's great. And I wonder how many people here don't know. So when I put the content out there, it should hope cool, interesting, cute, different, and people will click on me and see who I am. And maybe that will endear me to some people who I haven't met yet. I don't know, but I'm not going to bank my business on it. I'm just going to see this as a number.
Okay. Well, I don't know, Tony. We'll see how that. I mean, if you start doing that on your channel, I think we should discuss that in the next couple of months and see how that's working out.
That's cool.
Yeah, I know.
I'm willing to try it.
Yeah, go for it. I mean, I think I'd be interested to hear. I think over and over, what we've seen work is typically steering away from that stuff. But hey, if you make it work, I'm always open to learning more. I do have to jump. I've got to jump on a call. real quick, but I think that's a great way to end it. So we'll see. I think we'll reconvene. We're going to do some more testing with shorts over the next 30, 60 days. So we'll be bringing this topic up again. Tony's going to be implementing some stuff. Let's see, where are you located at, Tony? I'm
in Irvine, California, Orange County.
Okay, cool. All right, so we'll keep an eye out for that, and then we'll pick up the discussion later on down the road. But thank you all for joining us today, and see you next week. And make sure you
thanks for listening. Thank you.
Make sure you get your copy of Passive Prospecting.
Thank you for joining us on today's podcast. If you're interested in partnering with us to access our YouTube course and coaching at no cost, schedule a call at passiveprospectingpartner.com.